Hello everyone and welcome to the Narkin Network. I'm Dean, the host of the Narkin Network and the host of the Unmasking the Narcissist channel, and today I'm going to present to you episode 282 on the Narkin Network, and the title of episode 282 is the Narcissist Crazy? Now, this is a kind of a controversial episode because depending on who you look at in the world of narcissism, and when I say the world of narcissists, I'm talking about experts who are out there. I'm not talking about the narcissists themselves necessarily, because when you're talking about the narcissists themselves, I don't think that any of them at all think that they are crazy in any particular way, even if they are, and even if some of them are higher level narcissists and they may be behaving in crazy ways. But what it comes down to is that when you are dealing with narcissism and when you're dealing with narcissists, there is indeed lines drawn across whether or not you're dealing with a narcissistic individual who is technically dangerous in some particular way, dangerous to others around them, dangerous in a physical way to somebody. Because I've dealt with people on the Narkin Network who have had traumatic experiences with their narcissist because the narcissist is physically violent. They may be, emotionally abusive, physically violent. Their behavior may just be where they lash out in some way that can be damaging and or dangerous to anybody. And in that instance, if you ask the question, is the narcissist crazy? They might be. They may have sociopathic tendencies. They may have psychopathic tendencies. On the Narkin Network, we have talked in the past, and we will talk again in the future, about narcissists who display these tendencies within their narcissism, because some narcissists are absolutely benign. They do abusive things to people. They are emotionally abusive. They may mistreat people in emotional ways, and they may abuse their victims. They may abuse their victims' spiritual states. They may abuse their victims in love and in relationships and stuff like this. But they're not physically harmful or anything of that particular nature. But there are narcissists out there who clearly display psychopathy, and there are. It's not that high on the level of understanding the different narcissists that are out there, whatever cadres of narcissists that are out there. The level of narcissists that have real hardcore psychopathy is relatively low, although it's higher as of late based on studies that I've been studying out there, and from people who I have spoken to on the Narkin Network. I have heard stories where people have told me stuff where I've gone to the person, you're absolutely dealing with somebody who displays psychopathy here in possibly a dangerous manner. And you might want to address that, with a professional psychologist, of which I'm not. I have no psychology degrees, no PhDs in psychology. I just studied psychology when I was in my 20s, with the idea that I wanted to go into policing and pursue a career dealing with people who are mass murderers and things of this nature. That's what I wanted to do, and my life just didn't go that way. I went another particular direction. But I continued studying psychology my whole life, and since I've had some narcissistic events with some of my narcissists here over the past 6 to 7 years, I restarted studying that particular aspect of psychology to do with narcissism and narcissists and bipolar disorder people and all of those associated disorders in the narcissistic or NPD spectrum. So I do understand how that works, and I've heard a lot of stories on the network with people that I've done with where they've talked to me about people who would be considered possibly to be crazy in some particular way, because the behavior that they displayed or the things that they've done, harmfully to people around them that or to their victims. And myself, have I ever seen any crazy behavior out of the narcissists I've dealt with? Yes, absolutely. I've seen this on a number of occasions. I definitely saw some crazy behavior out of the narcissistic individual I dealt with from 2011 to 2016. And I definitely saw some other behavior out of the subsequent one I dealt with after that, from 2017 for a few years after that and onwards. Was it what you would consider to be dangerous behavior? No, there was nothing of a psychopathy type behavior in there of a dangerous nature. But imbalanced behavior, absolutely imbalanced behavior. I know that the one narcissistic person I dealt with from 2011 to 2016, they are a diagnosed bipolar disorder person. I did not know that at the time that I was involved with them. I found out about this afterwards. But it explains a lot of the things that I dealt with in the confines of that relationship with that person and in the confines of their behavior. And I now understand much better why I saw that type of behavior out of them. But I also saw NPD behavior out of them as well too, which I wasn't completely aware was NPD behavior until I started restudying it over the past couple of years. So I have seen crazy making behavior out of my narcissists and out of other narcissists around that I know. I have people and friends that I talk to who have some people in their lives who seem to be narcissistic individuals, and I talk to these people and I have seen some and heard about some crazy type behavior or questionable type behavior out of the people I know related to these individuals that they deal with. So again, is the narcissist crazy? This is a really loaded question, because depending on who you talk to on the internet, there are some narcissistic help experts out there on the internet who are going to say, fuck yeah, man, narcissists are batshit crazy and they'll do everything they can to prove this. Do I think they're crazy? I think they exhibit abnormal behavior that isn't indicative of a normal person. I think that some of that behavior can be interpreted as being crazy behavior, or being crazy as far as how they are with individuals. It's definitely crazy behavior to think that they can go around messing with everybody that they deal with and have multiple partners and not let everybody know, or to be involved in a relationship with a spouse or whatever, and to be running around on that spouse doing crazy narcissistic behavior. To me, that's crazy behavior. To some other narcissistic experts, that's going to be crazy behavior as well too. But we understand why the narcissist does this and how they bring themselves to reason with that being okay. It's simply because they have, a lot of narcissists have conductivity disorder as well too. So in their brains, doing that behavior is absolutely fine. Maybe because crazy behavior has been done to them, and this is what part of what has formed their brain into accepting that behaving crazy or doing crazy things, or doing things that aren't considered cool is fine. And that's what we could consider crazy behavior out of the narcissist, or out of the. So this is, it's all relevant depending on who you speak to. You're going to get a lot of different answers out of psychologists and stuff to say whether or not they think narcissists are crazy. For myself, I've seen crazy behavior out of my narcissists. I've seen crazy behavior out of other narcissists. Do I think narcissists are crazy? I think they are mentally dysfunctional. That's what I think is going on with them. Can they adjust that mental dysfunctionality to be able to function in a more normal way? I think that they can, if they take the proper steps and they seek the proper help to do that. But as we've talked about on the Narcan Network before, less than 1% of all narcissists seek to reform themselves. What happens when narcissists get caught and when they have to deal with the ramifications of their narcissism is often they become better narcissists. They become more effective at hiding their narcissism from people around them. They become more effective at using the victims around them and using the individuals around them to hide their narcissism, because most people don't even see the people around them as being narcissists. Neither of the narcissists I dealt with, the one from 2011 or the subsequent one from 2017, like this, neither of the individuals who are around those people, I think they're narcissists. They think they have other trauma problems or whatever. But they clearly have NPD. They clearly have NPD. And I'm not saying this because I myself am a studied psychologist, although I do study psychology. But I am surrounded with people who do have PhD degrees in psychology. I have a number of people who I can consult and have consulted with over the years related to my own narcissist and related to other people. And I use these people as, you know, to bounce information off to find out whether or not people I'm dealing with or whatever are actually narcissists and can be clinically looked at as narcissists. So I'm not, you know, blowing steam off here just saying whatever like this. I've done a fuckload of research to know whether or not the individuals I'm dealing with, even in my personal life, are indeed narcissists. The sad thing is that people are so blind to the cordiality that narcissists conduct themselves with in an everyday way. I was even blind to this with the narcissists I dealt with, because one of these narcissists I knew for minimum 15 years before, and I never saw really any behavior out of them that would indicate to me that they had narcissistic behavior issues, or that they were this type of person. Why? Because narcissists hide their narcissism and hide what they are extremely well. And people around them don't see this. I can even see people around my narcissists who still have no idea that these people that they're dealing with are narcissists. And yet they're out there conducting themselves with them. My narcissists are still out there conducting themselves with other people as well too, who probably have zero clue that they're dealing with somebody who has NPD. Because my narcissist, as we know, narcissists don't want to admit they have NPD. That's part of the problem here. But also one of the things that happens too is that commonly when you're dealing with a narcissist, the people who are around them are so blinded to their behavior that they don't see them. They won't see this behavior until they get locked in with somebody and they realize that that person is a narcissist. And there probably are people out there watching me right now who have had events with my narcissist. We have a narcissist in common. You guys who are out there who are probably actually watching me right now, you guys will know who you are in this instance. And I should say here again, I'm going to say this carefully, the shit that you dealt with those people who I dealt with, it's the same behavior. You were dealing with a narcissistic person beyond a shadow of a doubt. Realize this. I think you all are intelligent out there enough there to realize this, and to realize that what I'm saying here isn't bullshit about what I basically have stated about my experiences with my narcissists. And the sad thing is those narcissists are still out there, and they're still messing with other people. They're still not cured, and not in a state where they're, you know, they're over their narcissism. And I know this because I can see the propagation of their problems in cyberspace. So that being said, this was episode 282. I'm going to say please stay tuned. I've got lots of content coming up on the Narcan Network and on the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll catch you really soon.